Okay, great. So today we're talking about business travel, okay? And so when I'm talking about travel, it's not just going to another city. Maybe it is going to another city, but far away. Or maybe there's a company in your country that's based, the headquarters is in a different part of the world, and you have to go there, you have to visit. Maybe there's annual yearly picnics or celebrations or something. So that's kind of what we're talking about today, what we're going to. It's just, lots of vocabulary about mainly the airport, okay? There is a lot to know about traveling, and so we're going to look through a very long list of vocabulary. And actually, some of these might be very easy for you just because I know in some international airports, there's a lot in English. Maybe it's in the native language and then in English as well. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. So just a second, let me share my screen here for you, and then we can get started. That's not it. It's got to be that one. All right, so I'm going to share this. Oops, it's not what I wanted. All right, here. And I do need to make this bigger. I know that. Okay, and how is this size for everybody? Is this okay, or would you like it to be a bigger size? Probably bigger, right?
Good for me.
It's good for you? That's okay. Let me just do this, and I think that should be fine. Maybe I can get it a tiny bit bigger. Okay, perfect. So, Elle, we'll start with you today. We'll let the ladies go. So,
Okay.
why don't you go ahead and just read this definition, okay?
Okay. Airline, a company that provides air travel via airplanes, is an airline. The airport is very small, but there are three different airlines that fly from it.
Good. And can you think of another example for us?
United Air, you're talking United Airline.
Okay,
Oh, you
good.
oh you mean give me a sentence? Oh,
Yeah, sentence or anything that's related to this.
Okay. The last visit to Thailand, I got upgrade from economy to business by the American Airlines. I don't have to pay anything. It just
Very
yeah. I'm
good.
so I was so lucky on that day.
Okay, perfect. Later, we will see the explanations between business and economy as well. So very good. Chen, who would you mind? Oh, that's not going to work. Chen, who would you mind reading the boarding pass definition and example, please?
Okay, and let me try. Um, boarding pass. A boarding pass. Um, airline ticket. Passenger must show this before boarding or getting on the plane. We on the plane. Um, we should take out boarding passes before we get to the front of the line. Quick.
Good. This is Q. Okay, this is the British English word for line, which is American English, and that's why I have both of those in there. Okay, so very good. And can you think of an example? Have you ever flown, Chenhu?
Mm,
Have you been
yeah.
in an airplane before?
Um, uh, sorry.
That's okay. Have you been in an airplane? Have you flown in an airplane before to a different city maybe or a different country?
Yeah, in my country, uh, I fly to uh, Guangzhou province.
Okay. And on the boarding pass, can you tell me one thing that you see on your boarding pass?
Uh, that is my first time. I I see the cloud in the sky, very beautiful, and the cloud very white, and
Mm-hmm.
the sun very sunny. So you can see every cloud like animal,
Mm-hmm.
very beautiful.
Yes, it is. It's really interesting as well. Fantastic. So on the boarding pass, it will normally have your name, it will have the seat number and things like that, and it'll tell you where to sit. And sometimes before you kind of check in, before they see it, and they can rip off a part of the boarding pass, and they will count. How do I say this? The is it the flight attendants will maybe take a part of that boarding pass and keep it, and then you keep the other part. Okay. Sometimes they scan it so they know that it's real and it's quicker. So very good.
Mhm.
All right, great. So Ken, would you like to read to book a flight, please?
To book a flight is when you reserve your seat on the flight. Booking a flight at the last minute can be expensive, so let's book it now.
Okay, good. So Ken, do you have any experience booking flights?
Yes.
And is
Um,
this easy? Is it fun? Is it difficult? Stressful? How do you feel?
it's a bit stressful, but I asked about that in a travel agent. Travel agent, I show the
Mm-hmm.
proper price, a proper ticket for me. So, but I called a lot to the flight agent because I'm not familiar with booking tickets. But the people who are got accustomed with it, nowadays they book the flight online actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I always get really stressed. Normally, it's a big purchase. It's very expensive for when I fly home. Um, but also at the same time, I enjoy it because then I have to plan, what time I have to leave my house, what time I arrive, who's picking me up, and I like to plan things. And so for me, it's kind of fun. However, that moment of once you put in the credit card number and it's processing, that's the time that I get a little nervous and I just hope, please work, please work. And if it doesn't work, don't charge me and then not give me the ticket. So it's, like I said, a bit stressful, but I do enjoy it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and read this nonstop flight. Okay, the nonstop flight flies to its final destination without stopping at another airport in between. Okay, they do have nonstop flights from Malaga to Chicago, but only in the summer, so that's unfortunate for me. So nonstop flights can be more expensive. So let's look at all of our options first before buying. Okay. Again, if you have any questions about vocabulary in here, or maybe grammar or something like that, just
May
let me
I
know.
ask?
Yes.
Yes. What is the difference between book and reserve? For me, reserve sounds, how can I say, more formal or
Mm,
something like that. But
I don't think you'd really reserve a flight. You would reserve a seat. That's kind of like save a seat for yourself. Book, that's actually a really good question. We just use to book a flight or book a hotel. You can reserve a hotel room, which is more the space, if you know what I mean. This is actually to book a ticket.
I
That's a
see, I
really,
got it.
it's an interesting question. I've never had that question before. I think in this case we would just say to book a flight, to
Mhm.
book a cruise, to
Uh, that's why to book a flight and reserve your seat. So seat is a space, so reserve is used.
that's how it sounds like to me because if you
Mhm.
reserve a hotel room or book a hotel room, in that case it really wouldn't have much of a difference. The booking part is that it's yours, that you've kind of reserved it, if that makes sense. Um, I don't know. So
Mhm.
it's a really good question. I might have to look into that. So thanks, Ken.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
Any other questions that you can think of right now? No? Okay. All right. So, Elle, why don't you go ahead and read direct flight? Just a second here. I'll move
sure.
this over. Oops, not that far over. I didn't want to do that. Okay, great. Go ahead.
I don't know why I can't see the okay. Oh,
Do you see it now? Direct flight?
okay. Direct flight. A direct flight stop before arriving at its.
Ooh, sorry. I tried to click away and that was my fault. Okay,
That's
there you
okay.
go. Sorry.
Uh, can you? Okay, now it's good. Okay, a direct flight stops before arriving and at its final destination, but passengers do not have to change planes. Our direct flight went from Denver to Detroit and then to Paris, but I didn't get off the plane in Detroit. So I just confused about the non-stop flight and direct flight. Non-stop
Mm-hmm.
flight. Oh, okay. Non-stop flight, you just drive direct to the destination. You don't have to stop. But direct flight, you have to stop, but you don't have to get off the plane, right? Just stay in the plane.
Exactly. That's the only difference. For example, a non-stop flight would be Denver to Paris. Okay. However, this direct flight stopped in Detroit, but again, you didn't have to get off the plane.
Oh, I see.
But maybe more people joined the airplane. And maybe some people just got off in Detroit and that was their last stop, and maybe they got a connecting flight, which we'll look at next, from Detroit. Okay, so direct flights probably save money. Instead of having one kind of nonstop flight from Denver to Detroit or Denver to Paris, okay, they're combining these. And so they are saving money, which is good for the environment and less pollution.
Oh,
So
okay.
even though it might be a little annoying that you have to stop, you have to wait, it saves money in the long run. So, yep, that's the only difference.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I think. Yeah. No. Thanks.
Okay. Great. Well, I'm glad I got that worked out. Chen-Hu, would you please read Connecting Flight for us?
Okay. Connecting flight. Connecting flight. A connecting flight means that the plane stops and the passengers must change plans. I decided to take a connecting flight because it is a lot cheaper.
Very good. So when I fly home from Spain, I normally get one connecting flight because either direct flight or nonstop are more expensive. Actually, direct flight I've never seen, so that wouldn't happen. But a nonstop flight is super expensive, and sometimes they don't offer these. And so normally I get a connecting flight. Okay, any questions with this one? You don't always have to pick up your luggage, your suitcases after this. Normally it's at your final destination, unless you go to another country and then you have another kind of another domestic flight within that country. The first time you get to that country, you will have to check your bags and you will have to go through customs, which we'll look at all of this fun vocabulary in a second here. As for now, Ken, why don't you go ahead and read layover, please?
Yeah, layover is when passengers have to stop at an airport in order to change airplanes. I had a 10-hour layover in Dublin. It was very fun.
Okay, this actually happened to me when I first came to Spain. I had missed the other flight probably by 50 minutes, and so the next flight was 10 hours later. So that was a terrible, very boring day.
Could you were you able to get out of the airplane to hang around Dublin city? 10
I
hours
could
is.
have. Yeah, it was possible, but I was with a friend and we both decided, I mean, we were moving to Spain for a school year. So, we had a lot of luggage, we had a lot of things with us, and we just kind of decided, to find a place in the airport to store our luggage, to go into the city for maybe 3 hours really wasn't worth it. We just sat there and I could actually use dollars in the airport as well. So it was pretty interesting. Wouldn't want to do it again, but it saved us a lot of money as well. Okay, good. Okay, so L, let me just check. No one else has joined us. Okay. So L, why don't you go ahead and read first class ticket?
Okay. First class ticket. First class tickets are the most expensive tickets. They are in the front of the plane and much bigger than the other seats on the plane and normally offer better meals. Once I bought a first class ticket, it was an amazing experience, even though it was expensive.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I have never taken a first class. I've never had a first class ticket. It'd be amazing, but
What because this is my first time I was on business class. So, oh, okay. I just curious about first class and business class.
well,
Was
we'll
the
get to the business. Why don't you go ahead and read the business, and then we can compare, and the economy as well, okay?
okay? Business
So
class tick. Oh, sorry.
that's okay, Chen. Who can read this one?
Okay. Business class tickets are the less expensive than first class tickets, but more expensive than economy classes ticket. You have some benefits that economy class tickets don't. For example, larger seats. What new options are there for passengers without business class tickets?
Good. All right. So we have first class, which are the most expensive. All right, the most expensive tickets. Then we have the business class tickets, which are less expensive than first class, however, more expensive than the economy class, which we will look at now. Okay. So Ken, why don't you read this last one? Let me just double check that on. Okay. Okay, Ken, read the economy class ticket or coach ticket, and then we can discuss the differences.
Okay. Economy class ticket, coach ticket. Economy class tickets are the least expensive tickets that are all offered and have the smallest seat on the plane. I always buy economy class tickets because they are cheapest.
Okay, that in this case, no. So sorry, that was my typo. Good. Okay. So and now we have the cheapest or the least expensive tickets. All right, these are the ones I normally get, and the seats are just fine for me. All right, so the economy class are the most basic. Then we can go up to business, and one of the qualities that business class tickets have is larger seats. Honestly, I'm okay with the seats in economy class, so that's fine. And they might get different meal options, okay? The food might be a little different. And then we have the first class tickets, which are the most expensive, and these are the first ones that you see on the plane. And I think they are the first ones, so everyone else has to walk by them and think, oh, I wish I was there. I'm going to go first class next time. But it's never happened. It's just I might have to look into it, though, just see how much it is.
You
All
know,
right. So,
business class is four times than economy. Four
four times
times.
as much?
Yes,
Jeez. All
four.
right. So, no, that's not.
But first class, I think I have no idea. It's gonna be 10 times.
That's ridiculous. Okay. So, I might look into it. Maybe I'll report back to you and let you know. But no, I don't need that. Not yet. Maybe once that I get older. So, Good. So, Elle, does that help you with the differences between these three?
I think of business class and economy far far different. Not only larger seats, and
Mm-hmm.
you have more equipment than economy class, and the seat not only large. You can adjust like a bed,
Mm-hmm.
like a yeah. It's just
It reclines.
convenience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
and
look
only
nice as well.
two people in the row. Not
Mm-hmm.
in that size. Yeah,
Yeah, that seems very nice, actually. That'd be a lot of fun, but
it will
we'll
be my
see.
last, first and
Yeah,
last.
right? I would think so as well, yes. All right, fantastic. Well, we'll move on and we'll get to Suitcase. So, Elle, why don't you go ahead and read Suitcase for us?
Okay, sure. Uh, Suitcase. A suitcase is a bag that you use to hold stores, clothes, or other personal possessions. My suitcase was so heavy that I had to pay an extra fee.
Good. All right, so suitcase is the actual physical part, okay? Physical thing that you put things in. So you can hold or store clothing or clothes or other personal possessions, maybe it's shampoo or their shoes, sandals, pajamas, etc. Okay? I remember one time my suitcase was very overweight and I had to pay a lot of extra money. My mom thought it would be a really, really good idea to buy me the biggest suitcase known to mankind, I believe. It's massive. And so I just filled it up and then got to the airport and I said, "You owe us a lot of money." So I think it was $120 that I had to pay. So,
I think right now uh, they don't stick so much about the the
the
what do you
weight?
call, yeah, the waste, because of the oil price is drop, so everything is cheap right now. The airplane ticket is cheap, and then the weight so scared that they kind of not so strict.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I mean, I normally am pushing the limit. I try and bring back as much as possible. And um, so yeah, so normally I try not to pay an extra fee, but very good. Chen, who would you mind reading Luggage? Okay, Luggage.
Luggage. Okay. Mm, everything in suitcases, but bags that a traveler has with them is called luggage. I know many people who have had their luggage lost on a certain flight.
Very good.
On the
And so,
flight.
so this is actually an uncountable noun, and that's kind of the difference between luggage and suitcase, and that's why I have these together as well. The suitcase is the actual physical object, and luggage refers to everything inside the suitcase. Okay? And
Mhm.
so that's what happens. You can also add suitcases here, have had their suitcases lost on short flights. So you sometimes can use them interchangeably and depending on the context. Okay?
Mhm. Okay.
Any questions about this? Anyone, Ken or Elle as well? All right, sounds good. So if we continue on, Ken, why don't you go ahead and read checked luggage or checked bags? Okay, so here you can use them interchangeably.
Check luggage, checked bags. Check luggage is the luggage, suitcase, cases, bags that a passenger gives to the airline before getting on the plane. This airline allows each passenger two free checked bags.
Any questions here?
Mm, no, maybe passenger have to pay if they bring more suitcase or luggage.
Exactly. All right. So, Elle, we're back to you. Why don't you please go ahead and read carry-on bags and carry-on luggage?
Carry-on bags and carry-on luggage. Carry-on luggage is what passengers take on the plane with them. My carry-on bag is really small, so I think I'll be able to fit it under the seat.
Okay, very good. I always try and have my carry-on bag very small so I can put it under the seat and then it's faster to get off the plane. So good. So again, here you can have, you can use bags or luggage interchangeably as well. Does this make sense to you, to all of you? Any questions?
No.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I'll go ahead and read check-in counter. The check-in counter is where passengers go to set their boarding passes and to check their bags. Okay, so the example is, why is there such a long line? They should have had more people working at the check-in counter. Okay, so this is where you go with your, if you have printed off your tickets or not, that's where you go with your passport. This is where you leave your checked bags, okay, and things like that. All right, so we'll stop there. Great. So, Chen-Hu, would you please read about security?
Okay. Checking counter.
Actually, this is the security one you can read, okay? Security.
Okay. Okay. Security is an order where the passengers check in their possession. We have to take off our shoes when we go through the security checking point.
Okay, good. I'm just going to add an S there. Sorry, check their possessions. Normally they have more than one possession in their suitcase. So very good. Okay, so an example could be that you have to take off your shoes when you go through the security area. Okay, some airports do that, some don't. All right, they always tell you take off jackets, belts, maybe it's, shoes, things like that, anything metal.
Especially in US. You have to take off everything.
Chicago loves to yell at people like, all right, take off your jacket.
What a hassle.
And once you get closer to the actual, point that you have to put everything in that little plastic container, they say it even more often. They look at you, they point things out. So yes, they're very
annoying sometimes.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, yeah, I know, or, I don't like to take my shoes off like 20 minutes before I'm going to go through, so I'm going to wait until, otherwise my socks are going to get dirty, or, so yeah, absolutely. They're very loud.
Everybody got off the shoes. I realized, oh, I need to take off the shoes at that moment.
Exactly. I always like to wait till the last moment. You never know. I don't know. Just more comfortable. So, very good. All right. So, Ken, why don't you go ahead and read arrival and departure? Both of these are pretty small, okay?
Yeah. Arrival. An arrival is when a flight arrives at the airport. The arrival time is 1 p.m. Departure. A departure is when a flight leaves the airport. There are a lot of departures from Madrid every day.
Very good. I'm actually sure there's more departures from maybe Mexico City or Dubai or probably London as well. Okay. So arrival and departure. Any questions with these? Did you know these words before?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Okay, so Elle, you're next. Elle, why don't you read the next two, on time and delayed, because these are also they also have something in common. Okay, so read those two.
Okay. On time, when a flight leaves the airport at the scheduled time, the flight is on time. I really hope our flight is on time because I have a connecting flight. Delayed. If a flight leaves after the scheduled time, the flight is delayed. The flight was delayed 2 hours, so we missed our flight to. I can't see the rest of the sentence.
Oh, hold on a
Sorry.
second. That's okay. It's probably because of the little pictures, right?
Yeah. The flight was delayed 2 hours, so we missed our flight to our final destination.
Good. So on time is when we start at 10 after, we are on time also for this class. And delayed is maybe something doesn't work and so we have to wait. Okay, so it takes longer or we have to wait. Okay. So we can use these in other, examples as well in normal life. Okay. Any questions here? Okay, sounds good. All right. Good, actually. And so, Chen-Hu, why don't you read gate, and then I'll have you read the next one too. I'll move down when necessary, okay?
Okay. Gate. The gate is where the passengers wait to get on the plane. The flight leaves um, gate gate A4.
Very good. So gate is where we all kind of wait for the airplane, okay? So once we get through security, maybe get something to eat, and then we go sit down where the flight will take off from. And so we wait inside the airport at a gate. All right. And then why don't you read what?
Sorry. Can I have a question?
You can ask me a question, yes?
From gate, not from the gate. That is not necessary for arcade.
From
Article.
here? Well, you could say the if you, whoops, if you
Okay.
want to be more specific, but you don't need it.
From gate the A4.
Actually, that sounds strange to me. From gate. The flight leaves from gate A4. No, we don't use anything, actually.
Okay.
If anything, the flight leaves from the gate A4. That would go here, if anything, but that still sounds strange to me.
Oh, I see.
We wouldn't say that. No, so no article here.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Maybe because A4 is already specific, and so we don't need to use two specifics. Kind of like we don't really use double negatives in English.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I see.
So good question,
Yeah.
Ken. Ken always asks me the best and most difficult questions, so I appreciate that, Ken.
But you did a good job. You can
Great.
explain like I understand right away.
Well,
At
I
first, I just
try.
why don't use the like a Ken asked. So after you explain, oh yeah, that's the
Okay,
answer.
well, I'm glad that helps you then. That's fantastic. All right, great. So, Shanhu, because that last one is very small. Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can I use the platform replace the gate?
The platform to watch this video again, this class?
In platform.
The platform?
Yeah.
In this case, we're gate, where the plane is. Whoops, maybe I spelled that incorrectly. Tarmac. Really? Without the K? Okay, so tarmac is actually what we call where the airplane is outside. That's the tarmac. Okay, so we're inside the airport when we're waiting at the gate, and then it's called the tarmac when the landing strip, I guess you could say, which is where the plane lands and takes off from. Okay, but the tarmac is basically the airplane road, if you want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So good question. Actually, Chen-Hu, why don't you go ahead and read this next one as well to board, okay? That last one was pretty short too. There you go.
Two birds. Two birds are playing to get on a plane. We board we board at 9:25 and we take off at 10 o'clock. L
Mm-hmm.
seat, window seat,
That's okay. You,
middle seat,
mm-hmm.
middle
Okay, good.
seat.
Yes. All right. So let's talk about to board. So this is when you actually get on the plane. Okay. So you're waiting at the gate and then you're waiting to board the plane. Okay. And so once you board the plane, you must find your seat. And so I drew a little picture here, so hopefully we can all understand this. All right. So the aisle seat is close to the aisle. The aisle is where you walk. All right. So this is just one row of seats here, but normally we would have the whole aisle here and then we have many, many seats, okay? And so this A
Mhm.
represents the aisle seat because it's closer to the aisle. Then we have our middle seat because obviously it's in the middle of the aisle, and then the window seat is here, okay? And that's where you have that tiny little window next to you. Does that make sense to everybody? Is my picture, is it understandable?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, perfect. So any questions with boarding or any of the seats?
I don't like to sit in the middle.
I don't think anybody does.
But I'm so lucky I never have in the middle seat since I traveled.
Well, and sometimes in long flights that I have, it's, 3 seats here, and then they'll have 4 seats. Well, they'll have an aisle, then 4 seats, another aisle, and then 3 more seats. So that's the hard part when there's, so many middle seats. But I've been pretty lucky too. I should knock on wood.
Yeah.
So I don't get a middle seat when I go to the States next time. So,
Yeah.
all right, good. Okay, so Ken, you're up next. Why don't you read and tell us about flight attendant, please?
Okay. Flight attendant. Flight attendants are people who work for the airline and care for the passengers on the flight. The flight attendant will ask us what we want to drink.
Mm-hmm. Good. Any questions with this?
Maybe nowadays, flight attendant is the most common word. Maybe people don't say steward and stewardess anymore.
Well, I mean, to me they're interchangeable. I just think flight attendant is more common, I would say. Stewardess. The thing is that stewardess is a woman and steward, I think, is a man. And I think to kind of generalize things and not maybe stereotype so much or not masculinize, or I don't know if that's a word, to, say if it's a man or a woman, they just say flight attendant.
Maybe political correctness.
Correct. And I think that might be part of it. So maybe, yeah, it's a good
I think
observation.
it's maybe flight attendants is common in USA, but I think in England they use steward or
Stewardess.
yeah, stewardess. I think they use. I don't know, but this is just my opinion. Because in Thailand we don't call flight attendants because steward or stewardess. Yeah, and then in my country we follow the England system. That's why I said it might be common wave in England. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, that's interesting. I mean, and maybe, I just don't really know. I mean, I know probably years ago they would be called steward or stewardess. I guess I never really thought about that. To me, they're interchangeable, but I would personally use flight attendant. So maybe you are right, or all right, interesting. Good take on that as well. When I was younger, once I flew many times. I wanted to become a flight attendant. I thought it would be like the best job in the world. Having been a waitress in the United States, I thought, oh, now I can go to different countries. But now that life is starting to settle down, I don't think I want to be traveling so much. So
Yeah, I
very
think
good.
people in my age, I don't think you cry that old because in my age people thought like that, but nowadays people change. They don't think that is a like a wonderful job. You have to
Exactly. You'd rather be at home and, probably with children
travel
one day. Hmm.
and you oh yeah.
Okay. Very good. So let's go to the next word, pilot, and L, that's actually you. So why don't you go ahead and explain that?
Okay, pilot, a person who flies the plane. Pilot. The pilot announced that we will arrive late due to weather.
Hmm. Good. All right, so that one's pretty easy. That's the person who flies the plane, and that's it. There's also the co-pilot, which is co-pilot, and that's the person who helps the pilot. Okay, especially on long flights. All right,
I
very
I
good.
uh, I, I have something to share. Like
Sure.
nowadays, why the plane crash so often? Not like in the past. Like when I was little, I hardly to heard that the plane crashed. Yeah,
Did it
but
crash?
nowadays, yeah, crash.
Hmm.
But
I think
nowadays it just happens so like a car crash.
you hear about it more often because there's more social media and things that happen in a moment. Everyone can know in 10 minutes all over the
Oh,
world. And so I think that's more of the difference. I think it's
oh yeah.
technology. And honestly, there were probably more plane crashes years and years and years ago than
Oh,
nowadays because of technology as well.
yeah,
So
you're
I would
right.
say that's the only reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
When
think
I
there's.
agree.
also maybe number of flights are more than
Increase.
ever
Yeah,
nowadays.
definitely.
Yeah, yeah, agree.
All right. Very good. So let's see. Is it Chenhu? Why don't you go ahead and read about to take off? Okay. Whoops.
Okay.
Let me just
Mm,
move it over. There you go.
to take off. When the airplane leaves the ground, mm, take off. We going to take off in a few minutes. Please mm, mm,
Buckle.
buckle buckle. Please buckle your seat better belts.
Very good. Your seat belt. Perfect. Okay. So any questions here? Actually, this might be one word if you were wondering. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Seat
All
belt.
right. Yep. So before you take off, you put your seat belt on, and there's a special word for that, which is buckle. Okay. You can also
Buckle.
use fasten. To whoops. Fasten your seatbelts as well. I think fasten is more British English, and I would use buckle more often. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, okay, we're almost to the end here. I was just making sure. Perfect. That's to take off. Can Actually, I'm going to read turbulence. This is pretty self-explanatory. Turbulence is a strong wind that causes an airplane to move around and shake during the flight. There was a lot of turbulence on the flight. It made me uneasy. Uneasy is not comfortable, let's say. Okay. Any
Mm-hmm.
questions? I don't think anyone likes turbulence. At first, I thought it was fun, and then realizing what it is and where I am made me a little nervous. So turbulence isn't very fun anymore. All right, good. So Ken, sorry, why don't you read to land for us?
Okay. To land, when a plane arrives at the destination, land. To land means to touch the ground. Our plane landed at 6 p.m. It was on time.
And so that moment that the airplane touches the ground for the first time, it landed. Okay, any questions here? All right. So Elle, why don't you go ahead and read baggage claim for us?
Okay. Baggage claim. The baggage claim is where passengers go to pick up their checked baggage. After going through customs, we'll go to the baggage claim and then home.
Good. So this is where you pick up your suitcases, basically. Okay. All right. Any questions? This one's, I would say people have maybe seen this before. So you're claiming, you're picking up.
I have something to share about baggage claim.
Okay.
Oh, I told you before, but I never seen something happen like this in my country. I mean, Thailand. Like here, if your baggage uh, came late or come late,
Lost.
and yeah, and then the airline will like a delivery to your door in the next day or whenever they found the baggage.
Exactly. That actually
It's,
happens.
yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah, it is. It is very nice, but I never seen in my country. That's just pretty new to me.
Yeah, no, it's actually really nice. And I've flown in Chicago, and I haven't lost my luggage, but someone else has. And they brought it right to my parents' house, and so that's about 3.5 hours of traveling. And so it is really nice. And actually, they probably should, since it's their fault that they lost it. But you never know where it's going to have to go. So yeah, perfect. All right, good. Thanks, Elle. And we'll go to Chen Hu to read customs, please.
Okay. Mm, Customs is the place where the government officer check the bag and the product that are entering the country. I have never had my bag checked at custom.
Good. hmm So basically, they're just checking to make sure that everything is okay. I know in Australia, for example, they have a very strict customs area, and you have to be very careful with the things that you bring in to not hurt their environment, as it is so unique in the world. All right.
I think Canada too. They have the
Yeah.
same. Yeah, they're so strict.
Yeah, the United States is strict about some things. And for example, I could bring cheese, but I can't bring any meat products from here and things like that. So it just depends on what the product is, how it's sealed as well, how it's packaged.
I'm wondering, Canada and America border are long, and people maybe badly, go Canada or United States. So are all of them are checked at the gate or something to cross
Well, I mean,
when they
I
cross
don't,
over.
when I check in, I don't go through customs. I'm lucky because I am an American. However, my boyfriend isn't, and so he has to go through customs, and it's a little bit more challenging and things. So, and they really have to be careful of what they bring in because they could get in trouble. But maybe in the American, it's quite easy for me to just say, oh, just visiting home, here on holidays. So they normally trust Americans more than foreigners, which I believe it would happen in any country, to tell you the truth. So
Yes,
very good.
yeah, like you said, I can't believe why America is so easy about the uh check check bags. Not like yeah, I'm so surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we're strict in one sense and then not in the other, so. Good. Well, Ken, why don't you go ahead with the other one because we are out of time, but go ahead and read
Yeah.
jet lag for us.
Jet lag. Jet lag is a tiredness traveler's experience when they travel from one time zone to another. I always get jet lag when I fly to Hong Kong. The time difference is 12 hours.
Because this happens to me sometimes when I fly home, and sometimes it has the opposite effect in which, because of the time difference, I'm wide awake. So normally I get jet lag when I come from the United States to Spain because of the time difference.
Normally, it's gonna take me 2 weeks to get to normal.
Yeah.
I think the most it's taken me is 2 days. Normally, after that.
It takes 1 week to me. Because it's up to the time zone because America, Japan, maybe 11-hour difference or something. So
Yeah.
what was a lot, kind of jet lag happens.
Yeah, it depends which way I'm flying to. Like I said, when I go home, I'm just really tired, but I have like extra hours in the day. However, when I come here from the United States, I kind of fast forward 7 hours. So I lose my night. I don't get to sleep because I normally fly out in the afternoon and then get here very early morning. And I've just completely skipped over those 7 hours in which you normally sleep, and so it's terrible. So.
Yeah, and then another thing I have when I travel to Thailand, I have problem because it's a long flight, and then sometimes you didn't get sleep on the plane. So it's time to talk to the flight attendants. My mind just shut down. I cannot talk to them because I get tired. And
Absolutely. I can completely understand. Very good. Well, actually, let me just see here. I should have my next class on Saturday, okay? We're going to be talking about the grammar and how to use the future tense, but in the past. All right, so we'll be talking about past situations, but we're talking about the future at the same time. So a little bit of advanced grammar there, okay? So hopefully you can join, but as for now, we are finished for today. So thanks, you three, for joining. Hopefully you learned something today. It sounds like you all did. And hopefully you're welcome, Elle. Hopefully I will see you on Saturday, okay?
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.